Product Manager Resumes Live. Thank you very much for joining me today. I see we've got a lot of folks in the staging area, hopefully waiting with resumes ready. Thank you for also the quick response. I know I sent out the link pretty early in the night or late in the evening, depending on when you got it. And I just want to say thank you very much for responding, filling out the form, following instructions, and joining me here on the show. So before we get started, I'm just going to walk through the format today. We got a lot of folks. We're going to try to get through a lot of folks. The reason I sent that form out is to make sure that you actually are familiar with the basics. I've got a lot of videos on the channel, and I linked to a few specific ones that I want to make sure you watch before we actually go through the resume review, so that I'm not always repeating myself here and just constantly talking about how you should show impact. Although, let's face it, I'm probably going to be doing that anyway. Probably the majority of folks that are joining are college students. That's awesome. But if we have a few folks that are coming in with a little bit more experience or want to talk about career change, we'll talk about that as well. So ping me in the chat if you have any questions. I'll try to get to some questions in between the resume reviews. And of course, also, if you're new here, this is a channel about product management, business, and finance. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, so you don't miss any of the new videos or the live streams that we're doing. I'm going to be doing live streaming on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific, 11 Eastern. And you can also sign up to my newsletter at alexruchevsky.com. I'll drop a few of those links into chat as well, so you have those. Thank you very much, Shivaranjani. Thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to get started shortly here. But before we do, I am trying to see if we can get the channel to 2,000 subscribers. We've already at 1,750, it looks like. So we got to get the channel to 2,000 subscribers. It definitely helps to grow the channel, make sure that a lot of the stuff, basically everything that I do here, is free of charge for you. So you can learn how to get into product management, get into tech, learn how to build a career or switch careers if you're interested. And the only thing I ask is that you support the channel to make sure that I keep making this content. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And of course, always feel free to email me or leave comments. Let me know what other videos, what other content you'd like to see. All right, having said that, let's go ahead and bring out our very first guest. We have Kedar. Kedar, give me a nod if you're ready to come in the stream here. If you're ready to go. All right, excellent. So thank you so much for your patience. Let me bring you into the stream. Kedar, hello. Comments, let me know what other videos, what other content you'd like to see. All right, having said that, but you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and bring out. It sounds like you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So let me just make sure that that's working. You know, we had to get some audio trouble out of the way. Just a moment. All right, excellent. So thank you so much for patience. Let me bring you into the stream. You know, all right, let's try to lose the headphones and see if that's going to be any better. Comments, let me know what other videos, what other content you'd like to see. All right, having said that, you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and can't hear you, so let me just make sure that that's working. My sound is working, Kedar, so check your microphone, make sure that's working.
Hi, can you hear me?
Nope. Can't hear you. Can't hear you for now. All right, why don't you try to see if you can get your mic working, and we're going to bring on the next guest just to make sure that we're. It could also be on my side, so we'll see. I'm gonna turn your camera off for now. And who is next here? We got Ikshita. Ikshita, I'm gonna try to. I don't see your camera working, so when you get your camera working, we could try to bring you on. Prachi, it looks like your camera is working. You ready to come on the show? Let me try to bring you in here. So, Prachi, you're on the show. Can you hear me?
I can't hear.
You can't hear. Okay. All right. That might be on our side then. Hang on a second. Let me try to figure this out.
I can't.
Prachi, say again. So, all right, folks. Well, you know we couldn't get started without technical difficulties, so let me see what's happening on my side. All right, Prachi, see if your microphone works. Can you hear me now? You can't hear me.
But I am not able to hear you.
Oh, that's we hear you now actually with a little bit of a delay, but you can't hear me.
I can't hear you.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, we can hear you, so we got half the equation working. So let me bring you back after we get this squared away. Thank you, Prachi. Okay, Arnold, looks like you're next. Let's see if we can get the mic and audio working. All right, here we go. All right, Arnold.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Wow, this is amazing. All right, let me put
All
my
right, let me
headphones
put my
back
headphones
on.
back on.
Get rid of the
Get
echo.
rid of the echo.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Arnold.
Hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right. Well,
All right. Well,
I can
I
hear
can hear
an echo
an
of
echo of
myself.
myself.
So your mic is too
too
strong.
strong.
Oh.
See if you
See if
can
you can
cut the sensitivity on your mic, and we'll come back to you. We're getting closer and closer, Arnold. You're the
Can
closest.
you hear me now?
I can hear you
better?
well, but there's still an echo.
Oh, okay.
By the way, thanks all the folks on the stream putting up with our technical difficulties. Okay, Arnold, cut your sensitivity way down or get some headphones, and we'll get back to you, my friend.
All right.
Okay, we're going to give Kedar another shot. Kedar, you ready to try this out? I see you got a headset. It's a really good-looking headset. Can you hear me?
Hello,
We can't hear you.
can you hear me?
All right, we'll come back. Okay, who's next? We have so many folks, but Pranay, you can hear Kedar? That's really strange. That is really strange. All right, folks, let's try. We have Anirud. Let's try to bring you in. We're trying to get it so that you can hear him, you can hear the folks, and I can hear them as well.
Yeah, I can hear you, Alex.
And I can hear you too. All right, so it looks like we've got after a lot of technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I think we made it through. So let's just jump in. Anirudh, maybe you give us just a quick introduction, your background, what are you looking for?
Hey, so in terms of my background, I'm working as a data scientist with a company called as Amgen, and I'm kind of trying to pivot now into more of product management roles and like growth PM or strategy PM kind of roles.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And how much experience do you have in your field?
So as a data scientist, like a core data scientist with machine learning kind of experience, about 2 years now, but as data engineering and analytics, about 3.5 years.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good to know. All right. So do you have a resume for us we can take a look at? Maybe you can share your
Yeah,
screen.
Just give me a moment. I need to open up.
Sure.
I have that screen open up in the
Sure. And also, as you're looking for that, maybe tell us what kind of. So you mentioned product management, growth PM. That's good. Any idea of the type of products that you'd like to work on? I'm assuming this is like tech field, right?
Yeah. So I am looking for tech field, mostly tech oriented space for moving into the product management roles.
Gotcha.
Could you just give me a moment to bring up my screen?
Sure.
Opening up the document for you.
Yeah. Of course. Well, it wouldn't be a good stream without technical difficulties along every aspect of the pipeline. So this is a good time. Also, while you're looking, let me actually check the comments and see what we got going on. Just say hello to everybody. And it looks like, so Gina's saying that actually it sounds like at least some of the sound issues could have been on my side. It's really strange. And Fuad is also saying that you can hear both of us. That's very interesting. I heard nothing, unfortunately.
So can you see it now?
Yes, it's showing up. Let's see if you've got it. Yep, see it on the screen. Let me just cut your camera. So we can't see it. It just appeared. It just appeared and then went away. I'm gonna have to give a lot more specific instructions. All right, it looks like we got it. So let's look at this. Thank you very much for showing us. Let's take a look at this. Is it one page?
Do you have
Rosemary?
access to scroll it? Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
can't scroll, but it's okay. We'll start from the top. We just see. So you have just a few words on education. I think that's good. Master of Science, that's awesome. Bachelor, great, but not too much space spent on this. So I think that's wise. Then moving on, commercial data science, product manager. That's actually interesting. So you're in data science, but you're saying product manager because you ended up handling some product manager responsibilities.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I like that. I think that if you're in a space where you can actually legitimately say that you've done product manager sort of activities and responsibility, I think it's awesome to just put the word product manager in there. Sometimes, a lot of the times, actually, recruiters and hiring manager will sort of scroll, and if they notice the word product manager, it already means that you've got experience in the role. So it's kind of it's just a good flag.
Yeah, I kind of took a leaf out of your YouTube videos where you mentioned that if you
Right.
have done some kind of those, it's all about that first catch in the first glimpse of the eye, those
Exactly.
5 seconds.
Perfect.
I
All right.
kind of try to tailor it that way. That's
Great. Okay, that's good. That's good. So let's keep reading here. So I see ideation, design, development of a platform used by 500 data scientists and advanced analytics. So, for instance, advanced analytics team members probably is too verbose here, because I think the point is that you ideated, designed, and developed this thing, and then you're saying, look, it was used by this many people. And it also reduced, it had some cost savings benefit as well. So reduced, you could get a little bit more specific. So like, what does it mean 500 data scientists, like used in what period? Is this like ever, like unique individual users, or is this recurring users? You could get more specific. Sometimes you'll get questions during the interviews already, where you're going to be asked questions about, okay, what about this thing? It looks like you cut costs here, you save time. Can you tell me a bit more about that? And so that might come up. But of course, that's a different stage. Right now, your first line, I think, does have impact. And I see what you did and how it affected your company. So I think that's good. Maybe reduce the words a little bit and get more specific. But otherwise, I like it. Okay. Let's see what the rest of it looks like. Ship a feature, help ship a feature. So anytime you start, you want to try to use action verbs. Help is not a particular, although it is certainly a verb and it's got some action to it. It's a little bit of more of a passive thing. Like you helped. Well, what exactly was your role there? So it's hard to, it sort of diffuses responsibility.
Got it. So I was more of in the designing the delivery around it for implementing some of the features using machine learning. And I was not coldly into the development process. I was more of facilitating that. That's why.
Okay. But well, see if you can play around.
I can improve the action verb around that.
Yeah, and you see what's, when I do these, I don't even read the whole sentence. I still don't know what you helped ship. But so let me read a little bit longer, because when I go through these for the candidate's benefit, I want to do it as authentically as possible, as I would if I were actually reviewing your resume for consideration. So for an iOS application,
if you could point it out how you would just go through those 6-second reviews and catch the words that come up and just leave the rest.
Yep. We'll do that. We'll do that as well. Which leverage machine learning predict patients changing therapy, leading to 150% increase in your prescribing compliance. Yeah, that's great. I think that's very actionable, but your involvement in there is a little bit unclear. So think about how to either maybe specify what you actually did, or make it just a more powerful more powerful claim because the impact is strong, but your involvement is potentially weak and diffused.
Okay.
Own feature roadmap for doing this thing. Natural language processing, great with AI. Achieved 100% increase in beta adoption. That's good. That is good. And so that just makes me wonder, well, what was the beta adoption before? And is it important to have beta adoption? Like, I don't know that beta adoption is this. It's a little bit unclear. Like, what is the purpose of this beta adoption? Is this a beta that we actually want widely adopted? Like, what exactly are you saying? So just maybe a little more specificity there.
Okay. I mean, it was more along the lines that we were going for a second iteration of the conversational AI implementation, and the first one didn't see a lot of adoption in terms of a lot of blockers for the people who were actually using it, the medical field reps. So upon redefining some of the problems and the grievances that they had, it was more of a test, like how they are responding it to now. So
okay, so that's good. Maybe we can have that jump out a little bit more.
Okay.
By the way, you've got some folks here that are saying it's a great quantifying of accomplishments, clean, easy to see font, and very clean resume. This is great. So I agree. Let me just right off the bat, I didn't comment. I really like the way it looks. It's very clean. It is not cluttered, right? It's one page. And very clear, not some sort of a fancy font, black on white. And I would say you could get more concise with these lines. I see a lot of double lines, and it looks like there might be some fillers, so you might want to cut that out.
I guess there are a few fillers because the so-called ATS has to be kind of taken into consideration as well.
Definitely. I would say if you're going for mass assault into these systems, then you might want to take that into account. To be honest with you, I've never actually used any of the automated systems. I've always just had people review resumes, and I would review resumes at pretty much anywhere where I was, my own business or working. But certainly at some companies, they do leverage them, but I just don't have a lot of experience with them. I certainly heard people talk about them, but in the real world, I just never really used them.
I kind of assume that places like Google or big places have thousands and thousands of applications coming in, and it would be really difficult, like, to go through them kind of manually. So
yeah, that's a good point. I think there's something to that. I honestly don't know. Okay, let's keep going.
Yep. Let me just, by the time you read that, I'd scroll it a bit down.
Yep, you can scroll. Scrum adoption for 20,000 physicians. You might want to tiny nitpick, but you might want to add a comma to separate the thousands. I know that's a US thing, but it's just it's useful for visual. Again, just quick visual.
Oh, I'm sorry. It'll come back. I'm really sorry.
No. I'm talking about the fact that you have 20,000 plus. If you just put a comma after 20, I will easily know it's 20,000. Or you can say 20K, right? Just for ease of perception. As I'm scrolling, I'm going to quickly be able to tell, is this 20,000 physicians, 200,000, 2,000, 2,000, 20,000? Like, what is it? Again, it's just a minor point, but while we're here. Reiteration, delivering detailed analytics. So here you did more user research and facilitated Scrum adoption. I don't know. I know that the chatbot seemed to have delivered analytics for 20,000 physicians, but I'm not sure if the physicians used this. I'm not sure what exactly your role was. So maybe get a little bit more specific about what happened there.
Okay, so this
and how it was impactful.
Got it.
Data science consultant, university, lightweight application, leveraging machine learning to predict. Great. So that's a great. Is this an application sort of like just a project you built for yourself? Was this used for something later on?
This is kind of a POC for like these groups that come up for the university for looking Like, if we can venture into the big data machine learning space, could you build out a POC for us? Kind of that.
Okay, maybe you want to demonstrate that, or if anything else came out of it that you know of, like if it had some sort of ancillary benefits that the university or some department could have actually achieved, then maybe demonstrate those, because right now it just shows that you developed this thing, but we don't know to what end and why.
Okay.
Consulted stakeholders. So consulted stakeholders is generally weaker than driving consensus with stakeholders, just as a general statement, right? Because when you're consulting them, you're sort of asking them, what would you like to do? But as a product manager, the more powerful thing is to actually convince them of a certain point of view, or orient a group around building in a particular direction, or what have you.
Okay, I'll jot down these points.
That's just something to think about. So, and also to understand key customer preferences, that I don't know that stakeholders will really give you key customer preferences as well as the customers themselves. And also based on statistical analysis, like, so I'm just confused by that line. There's no numbers. It's hard to understand what exactly you're trying to demonstrate there. You're trying to demonstrate that you can work as a team, or that you care about what customers think. Just get clear and maybe try to demonstrate one thing at a time.
Okay, so this was more along the lines of explaining what my analysis was from developing the application. So there are points where you can leverage suppose you're building a machine learning model, you can leverage those things to bring out some analysis. It's more of an iteration or explanation for that, but I think maybe it might be removed. I'm not sure.
Don't be shy about that also, because again, we're going to try to do a scroll. Now, actually, let's see what else we have here. We have data scientist, data engineer. Scroll to the bottom. I want to see what the rest of it looks like.
Just a second.
Thank you. Retention increased by 30%. Engagement and sale, delivered forecasts of 200 locations across 4 countries to stakeholder and leadership. That's good, but again, your position there as a data scientist, so that makes sense that you would deliver these forecasts. And I guess you could demonstrate the point that, because again, when you're crafting product manager resume, it's not necessarily about listing the stuff that you did. It's about leveraging the things that you did that were related to product management and demonstrating that. Right?
Got it. This was something that was on my mind to kind of ambiguous about that. Should I be presenting more of the PM stuff, even in the earlier stages of my career, or should I just present even if I did engineering or like that?
No, I think it's you get a healthy mix of this stuff. But you see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullets for your data engineer, which was 4 years ago, and then go back up top. How many bullets do you have for your latest position? In general, you should have more bullets for the most recent position and less as you go back. So you have it. You have 4, and they're a little bit meatier. But think about maybe front loading the good stuff, right? The stuff that you did 4 years ago is important, but really you should identify the really pivotal things that make you a better candidate for product management.
Got it.
Okay, so overall, I think this is
further down.
This is pretty good. Yeah, let's get to the bottom, Anirud, here, and let's see what you got below the data engineer. But I think overall, you're looking good. You got your languages: Python, SQL, Java, great. Agile, Jira, UX design, great. User stories, user research. Yep, that's fine. Certainly fine. Data science, that's great. That's actually very helpful for product managers. And Tableau, that's awesome. BigQuery, great. Yeah, I think that's great. Those skills are very relevant, and that's the end of it, right? There's nothing else beyond that?
Yep, no.
Okay, awesome. All right, so go back up. Go back up. We can take another glance at it, but I think I got a pretty good idea of it, so I can give you my feedback. Overall, I mean, obviously you've taken these notes, but I like it. I like it. Let me give you my impressions here. Let me just turn off this right here, bring you back. So it's clean, it's short, it's to the point. You've got metrics, you've got impact, you've got the takeaway that I have is someone who is strong at working with data. You've got your bachelor's and your master's. That's nice. It's very short up top. You don't waste a lot of space, but yet you do bring the point across. So I would say if I'm looking for a product management candidate who has a background, data science background, that's the impression that I would get, and I would probably invite you for a phone screen for that type of position. But the other aspects of product management, which is stakeholder alignment, collaboration, communication, and execution. If I was looking for a candidate that specifically drives that would not necessarily jump out at me. And I think one of the things that I mentioned in the form is that I'm looking to put together a program because there's so many people that write me with resume reviews and just a lot of folks who want to get into product management. I think product management is this awesome career that's going to really be even more important in the next 5, 10, 15 years as the problems that we're facing are going to get more and more ambiguous and confusing. And I want to see if we can actually take some folks that have strong aspects in educational or other aspects of product management and sort of run them through some training together, maybe on events like this. Maybe we'll do, off stream ones as well, and see if we can get basically some folks to the level where we can actually reach out to certain companies and just set up the interview and even go beyond that. So that's why we're going to be kind of looking holistically at, okay, now that we went through the resume, what do I think about it? What type of product management positions might be better suited, and what is missing from this resume? If we're thinking about this mythical, well-rounded product manager, which maybe doesn't even exist, right? Everybody's got their own specifics. So that's where you're leaning. I think it's a strong place to be, working with data, drawing insights from data, super powerful. But that's just some information for you. And then if you want to...
but I'm not exactly just want to be focused on the data aspect of product management roles. I want to go holistically on multiple roles because there are different opportunities within product management within different groups. Although my previous work experience or background has been a little bit more heavy towards the data engineering and analytics kind of things, but I don't want that to inhibit my chances for just that small unicorn data product management.
No, absolutely. So my point was not that it would not, but I'm saying usually when we create product manager vacancies, there is a project in mind, usually. Sometimes it's just a generalist position where certain big companies are just always looking for product managers to lead the next big thing. But a lot of times, probably for the majority of the the big 5, 10 companies, they're going to be looking for very specific roles. And a lot of times, even within those big companies, they're going to be looking for specific things in mind. So I'm telling you where I would look at based on your resume, and I think it is strong. That doesn't mean that if I was looking for a different type of product manager, it would not necessarily stand out. But right now, the takeaway is that's my this 6 to 10 second impression. But I think generally it's good. Like you're closer to let's call this person out and let's have a conversation with them. Right? Maybe a recruiter screen, maybe a phone screen, and I mean those are separate challenges. But I would imagine that you should the resume, if you tighten it up a little bit from the things that we talked about, you should get good response rates. And I think
I've been trying for these. I tried for the RPMs that came up or the APM roles. I think Google's. I haven't applied yet for the Google APM program.
Sure.
But
what's your response rate, and how many applications have you sent out? Getting into
I sent about like 10, not much. Honestly not much. About 15 or so applications. I did get a call back from Wayfair, but
oh, that's great.
It so happened that Wayfair wasn't I mean, their kind of response was, we are looking for someone with about 4+ years of experience.
They do that, yes.
And
I'll do a separate video.
That's where I got blown off.
Yeah. I'll do a separate video talking about like how to get past that like number of years experience. That unfortunately, sometimes there's just nothing you can do about that. Well, we need X number of years, but we'll talk about tips and tricks.
Kind of, I didn't understand. I had about 3.5 years of experience, professional experience. It's just that it wasn't. They kind of thought that it's not 4 years of PM experience.
Yes.
So like you might more fit for the lower level roles of PM. Data
That happens.
surely higher level roles, but
That happens. So Anirud, final thoughts here. Keep applying. You got to apply to a lot more jobs. I think you're going to do well. If you already got a call back from one of the 10, 15 places, that's already great. I think those are great. People kind of overestimate what their response rate should be. So what I'd like you to do is tweak the resume, apply to more positions, and then write back and let me know we spoke on the stream on this date. Here's what's happening, just so I know what's going on, and then maybe we can bring you back and kind of get your debrief on that.
So in the tweaking part, I just want to be clear with one thing.
Sure.
One is tightening up all those two-liners and bringing them kind of into more one-liners. Anything should I kind of more move away things from data towards more general PM kind of things?
I wouldn't. So I wouldn't cut out the strong data stuff that you have. I would see if you can add more stuff, get rid of some filler, and maybe add more general stuff. But that really shouldn't be an impediment for you. It's good as it is. Right.
Even and I'm really looking forward to that program that you mentioned. I saw it on the second page. If there's something where there is a point of inclusion, I would really like to be a part.
Yeah, you already. So if you follow those steps, you're already on the list, and I'll reach out with next steps for sure.
And I just wanted to point out one thing. I saw that behind you. I kind of couldn't help but notice it. That's kind of.
Very nice. Yeah. We're trying to start a trend where YouTubers and during meetings, people have guitars in the back. Like at my company, I think the trend already started.
So the cool PMs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hashtag that should be starting.
Totally, I'm with you. So if you want to hang it on the wall, I would totally support that.
Oh yeah, I'm planning to. I'm trying to find a good spot to. But
awesome. Anirud, thank you very much. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. And please keep me updated with your progress, okay?
Sure. Great session, and I'll hang on for the rest of it.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Arnold.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, folks, here we go. Let me see if we can get some questions. I know you've been writing things. Hopefully, it looks like there's been questions and answers. Let me just quickly scroll through that, and we'll try to get the next person in. I'm really sorry about those technical difficulties. I don't know why. Sometimes you can hear the candidates. Sometimes I can hear them. Rarely we can both hear them, and I think that's what we're going for. Also, this is a good time to ask to subscribe if you haven't already, because we're really trying to make sure that YouTube is telling me, over 50% of folks that are watching these videos are not subscribed, and you should really be subscribed. As I said in my initial form when I reached out, is this is a 3 to 6 month plus journey in just to get a job as a product manager. Sometimes a lot longer, but if you want to get better at product management and grow in the career, then definitely stick with me, and hopefully we'll try to help you as much as we can. All right, so now let me go through the chat. All right, I would love to hear how to tailor non-PM work experience for early career PM roles. Gina asks how to tailor non-PM work experience for early career PM roles. Yeah, I have a video talking about that, but effectively what you're doing is you're looking at the top 5, 10 things that a product manager is responsible for, and you're figuring out how to fit some of the work that you were doing into those roles and try to highlight that. That's it in a nutshell. It's a lot, it's a little bit more difficult when you sit down and do it, but that's the idea. Is you're trying to kind of what we just saw with this last resume is there was the position was data analyst, but first of all, he made a product manager data analyst because some aspects involved, building roadmaps or developing feature sets or whatever it is, and it makes sense as a product manager. So that's when you're doing it. You're taking your non-PM work and you're identifying the pieces that align, because product management is a lot of different things, as you saw in some of my videos. So check that out. Try to do that and see how it works, and check out the video also that I have on the channel. Okay. So Plikis asks, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Alex, I switched the job from company A to B, and then in a short span of 5 months, back to company A. Whoa, that's great of company A to take you back like that. I think you can you can certainly add it to your profile. Like if it makes sense, like hopefully there's a reason for why you're kind of jumping in between jobs. It's not necessarily bad, but it's something that you want to be able to explain. Sort of like a potential recruiter or a hiring manager that will want to know, are you going to leave in 5 months? That's like the general thought. And so you want to be able to explain that. And if there's a lot of relevant impact and experience in those 5 months that you want to list that, there's a possibility that if there wasn't, if there was a situation that you don't necessarily want to highlight, then you can essentially omit it. The problem is then you got that 5 month gap. So probably it's going to be difficult to omit it. So I would just keep it on there and identify the key impacts and accomplishments and have a good story around why you left, why you came back, why you're now looking for a new position. Hopefully that helps. Okay, we'll take the rest of the questions. All right, let me take one from the end here. So if I missed your question in the middle, you might want to repost it. But Nikita asks, hey, Alex, I have 3 years experience as a product manager, but also just completed my master's. Can I still apply for APM positions? That's a good question. First of all, that's awesome. 3 years of product management experience and master's. That's strong. You certainly could, but with 3 years of product management experience, I would imagine that you could probably go above an APM role. I don't think I'm actually not sure. And it also might be different. APM might mean different things for different companies. So that's actually a good question for a recruiter of the company. I would imagine that recruiters of a lot of companies would want to speak to you anyway. If you have master's and 3 years of product management experience, and again, if the resume is strong, then you can reach out and ask, is this APM or is this another position? But I would imagine that you can go higher than APM with that. Okay, so let me try. So Arnold, can we try to bring you on here? I don't see headphones on you. So I don't know if it's going to work. Let's give it another shot. Here we go. All right, and then folks in chat, just let me know like what's going on, if the echo's there, if not. Oh.
Can you hear me fine now?
I can hear you fine, but the echo is killing me. I can't. I'm sorry, Arnold. I can't. Maybe chat will let me know how the echo was, because that was just hit. My own voice was just hitting me super loud. So let me know how that was, Arnold. Meanwhile, hopefully you go find some headphones. Maybe that'll help. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, my friend. Prachi, let's try it again. Here we go. Hello, Prachi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm super happy we got that fixed. Thank you very much for your patience, and thanks very much for joining us. So just not to waste any more time, give us a little bit of background. What's your background and what brings you here?
Okay, so hi everybody, my name is Prachi and I come from India. And I have I've done my bachelor's of engineering in computer science, and I have 2 years of experience as an Android developer. So it's a very technical role. And post that, I switched to become a data analyst, where I realized, I am more focused on giving out products that are impactful for customers. So that is how that was the inception of my interest into product management. And yeah, and that is how I ended up, looking out for product management, and then that's the transition I want to make. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's in information management at Syracuse University in New York. So yeah, I'm looking out for more opportunities in product management now.
This is awesome. This is awesome to hear. A lot of the times, that's kind of what happens with product managers. Kind of learn about their interest on the job, maybe doing something else, and turns out, wait, shoot, product management seems like the thing. And there's still a lot of confusion about kind of product management. What actually is it? How does one become a product manager, and what does a product manager actually do? And so definitely glad that you kind of discovered it and you want to kind of step on this path. Let's take a look. So right now you say you're doing your master's right now. Are you finishing it up? Are you thinking of applying soon to positions?
Yes. I'll be applying this semester onwards, for the APM programs as well as the RPM programs.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. All right, let's take a look at your resume. If you want to maybe share your screen and bring it to the top, we'll take a look. Meanwhile, so it looks like, Arnold, you see, it wasn't just me. The echo was there. I just want to make sure because I do want to bring you on here. So if you can find headphones, it looks like Prachi, you were able to fix that. I'm very happy. Hopefully, Arnold will get you to fix the audio as well. Bring you on.
Okay. Just give me a moment here.
Yeah. Take your time. There's
I can
plenty of
see.
questions in chat here.
Yeah.
So Bhavish asks, during my internship at a startup, I lead a team. I don't know if this is still going on or not. Lead a team of 9 developing 2 applications, but the application is not released to the general public. Oh no, how should I showcase this? Bhavish, I'm totally with you. That makes sense. You can talk about it, right? It's not a secret. It's not a secret government application that you're developing, or maybe it is. I don't know, but if it's not, then you can certainly talk about it. So you don't have to say like, here's the link to the applications, but you can say, here's the work, here's the impact, here's what I did, here's how I led the team. Definitely don't worry about the fact that there is no link. That's just, and by the way, why isn't it available to general public? I'm assuming it's some sort of an enterprise product, right? That it's available to someone, or maybe it's an internal use product. Whatever it is, you should be able to talk about that. It's not, just because it's not general public does not mean that it's not useful. What we just
Okay. I think I have some issues with sharing my resume. I am not sure.
yeah,
It's
you know,
because
so
I'm
much
using.
so I
I
don't
think
even.
because that I think because I'm using Safari, maybe.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna write our friends at BeLive. This is the service that we're using.
Okay.
Maybe you can try to leave and come back, and then you can just send me
Okay.
your
I'll let
resume,
you.
and then I'll just bring it up on my own screen. But maybe just
Okay.
reload the
Okay.
screen.
Okay. Sure.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me take some questions as well. All right. Okay, so let me actually, while we're waiting, Radna, can we try to bring you in here and see if your audio and camera is working? Radna, hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. I'm so
Awesome.
happy to hear it, to hear that today. Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Maybe also just a few words about your background and what you're looking for.
Sure. So I'm Ratna. I'm a second year MS in Information Systems graduate student at Kelly School of Business. Prior to my MS, I worked at Oracle as an associate consultant in their financial ERP systems background with banks in Western Europe. During the summer, I did an internship at Toyota in their cloud and enterprise technology practice, where I worked on Azure optimization strategies. And my undergrad was in computer science in India. So I am looking for APM programs because I have zero product management experience. So I just wanted to know, I mean, what is that you look for in a resume, without any product management experience, and how
Yeah.
would you judge that? Yeah.
Sure. Well, first of all, you've got some big names over there. I heard Oracle, I heard Toyota, and Azure. So that's Microsoft. So that's pretty great. When we're picking product management candidates, we will look at just realistically. There is certainly the educational background matters in like making an impression. The places that you've worked at, if they are recognizable, of course, it matters in making an impression. Once you actually get past the resume stage, it doesn't matter as much. But the resume is all about getting attention. And so I would find a way, since you said you don't have specific product management experience, kind of like I talked about earlier, find a way to see if you can bring in, surely there's some aspects of the product manager kind of day-to-day work that you were already doing in some of these other positions. And so I think what's going to be important is to find those and then sprinkle them throughout the resume. And then with your educational background and with those fancy names, you're usually, most likely, recruiters will look at your resume. And first of all, they will almost certainly look deeper in to see if they can spot some stuff that they find interesting. So do you have a resume for us to review?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Let's see if you can try to share that. While you're doing that, I will. So I actually see it pop up here. I don't know if it's. Let me try to put it on the screen. Oh, it didn't quite load yet, so we'll wait. We'll wait for it to load up. Bring you back. Meanwhile, folks, remember, if you have not subscribed, make sure to do so. Very, very important to help out the channel. Of course, hit the like button as well. There's 30 people here, but only 13 likes, it looks like. That math doesn't work out. So just go ahead and hit the little like button, and then we can continue.
Can you see my screen, Alex?
Yes, now I can. Now let me go ahead and put it on the screen. Okay, I can see it, and we can start go through it. All right, so we'll do. Perfect. So start out experience. Great. Toyota. Cloud and Enterprise Technologies internship. Interesting. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Ideated. So just let me do my scan. So as I look, obviously I see Toyota. That's interesting. I see, what's the next thing that I see? Developed application, added estimates, Kelly Hope. Digitalization project for also summer.
Yeah.
Led a team of 2 and executed strategy in 2-week sprints. And Oracle, let's scroll down a little bit. This is like a live representation of what it's like to review resumes. So the things that I'm saying are roughly the things that I'm seeing. This is for everybody that's watching as well. And like the best way to do it is think about, and I understand it can be difficult if you don't have a lot of work experience or product management experience, but you basically imagine that you are hiring a person to do what? To build a product, to think of a product, to execute on a product, and you're going to look for what signs that person's going to be able to do the job. Most likely that they've already done it in the past. So you're going to look at the little things that you notice that might make you think, okay, they've done this, so they might be able to do this for me. So you should be able to put yourself in the mind of a recruiter or a hiring manager to try to kind of evaluate a resume.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's keep going here. So, Oracle, perfect. So, perform data migration. What did you reduce? EOD activities. I'm not sure what that is, by 90%. I'm not sure what EOD activities are, but I am excited to find out. It's awesome. Is it good that you reduced it by 90%? I hope it's good. I can't quite tell. We'll talk about it. Optimize the API service calls. 67% increase in efficiency. Great. Trying to understand, what is this efficiency? What does it actually result in? So do we get some savings? Do we free up like processing power? I'm not sure what exactly that does. I see that clearly I don't understand the Oracle Financial Services software. It's just that underscores how much I don't understand it. Next, developed something. I'm not going to read it because it's too long. It's too confusing. Projects developed a data warehouse. Utilizing Azure, analyzing data trends. Okay, I can't tell why exactly. Full stack web application. That's good. What was the application? Maintain firefighter staff certifications. Okay, that's interesting. And then scroll down. Let's take a look at technical skills and education. Basically, what I'll look at there is, I see master's, bachelor's, great, awesome. Women in tech, that's good. Graduate assistant, 120 students, great. Awarded first prize, good, awesome. So let's go back up to the top. So if I'm hiring, let's think again, going back to the previous resume we talked about, like what am I hiring for that would make me want to speak to you? So I think anything that overlaps with whatever Oracle Financial Services does. If I'm looking, anything in the financial space or something that has to do with this specific thing, then I might call you out. I also the educational background plus Toyota and Oracle might just win me over. But the resume itself, now we're going to go through it a little bit more in depth. But I can already, it feels to me, and I'd love to hear Chad's reaction also, if you can imagine that you are the hiring manager or recruiter that is actually reviewing this resume. Tell me what your thoughts are, just in general. Is this, does anything jump out at you? What do you think, based on everything we've discussed before? My thought is that there's still too much fluff in there. Like there's too much filler. It almost feels like kind of like what we talked about, which is it feels like you're trying to make up for the fact that you don't necessarily have product management experience. I think it's totally okay. If you didn't work as a product manager, it's totally fine for you not to have product management experience. So let me bring you back here for a moment. So I would say that we're going to look at the resume again just momentarily, but I would say that try to get a little bit more empty space in general. The resume should have air to it. It should not be like wall to wall. More one-line bullets as opposed to two-line bullets. People kind of want to add more, but actually they forget that less is more in actuality. Like it very much is less is more, because that when I look at a resume and it's filled with letters and numbers from left to right, from top to bottom, I'm already intimidated. Just because you have a lot of content in there does not mean that there's a lot of impact produced. And what I'm looking for really is impact and a lot of other like PM skills, communication, collaboration, all this stuff. So now let's go through it a little bit and see if we can give you some pointers. Let me put that back on the screen. Like that. Close out the left-hand navigation bar. Oh, yeah. Yes, if you could actually close it, that's a good point. Thank you very much. Thank you, Techie Chica. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
All right. Let me now zoom in myself so that I can see that. Great confidence and polished presentation skills when you spoke. So +1 to that, of course. Well done.
Thank you.
And let's take a look now. So yes, so you see it's a little bit too much. Let's go line by line and see if we can point out some things that don't look good. And then it's going to be actually up to you to think about, okay, check out the video that I have about like top 10 PM skills and other things about qualities that I look for in PM, and see which of those you can identify, first of all, in yourself, and second of all, in the work that you've done. And then try to highlight that. Right here, if we just look at ideated, so there's an operational strategy. You analyzed business procedures, so you improved. So again, you improved interoperability between cross-functional teams. Let's get a little bit more specific about what that is. It sounds like you were able to build the strategy which recognizes individual efforts, encourages innovation, but it's a little bit difficult for me to understand how. Like, what does that mean? Maybe the strategy was recognizing individual efforts. I don't know how you encouraged innovation, and also I don't know what the result of this. Did it actually work? And how would you know it worked? If you can do that, that's already product management. Basically, you're leading a team, you're improving processes, you're doing all the stuff, but it doesn't really come out right now because I don't know what the impact was. I just know it seems like you did stuff, but I don't know why, and I don't know what happened.
Okay, so if I say that, I did give that idea, they're implementing it right now, but I do not have an end result of how much it improved their current business processes. So how would I have to put that in?
Yeah, that's a question that I get all the time. A lot of time for internships also, it's like, hey, wait a minute, I only worked for a short time. I left, stuff happened. I don't know if it happened. So number one, keep in touch with colleagues. Keep in touch and just ask, what was the result? Just ask, hey, what happened with this? I mean, I do that with plenty of like stuff that I start and I don't know what happened with it. Then the second thing is there's proxy metrics. So what happened? How else can you show that it was impactful? So for instance, previous question we had in chat was, this app is not available globally. How can I show it?
Right.
Well, it was available to someone, or someone used it, or even if it wasn't launched, we developed it, right? Like we got it to some milestone. So in your case, the fact that they took your recommendation and started implementing for an internship, that seems pretty powerful actually. Because you're coming in there for a short time, you develop the strategy, this thing, And then your proxy metric is it began development, or it is in the middle of development. It was approved by stakeholders. That's an important big thing. So try to find those incremental, impactful changes that you were responsible for or led to, and identify those. Bring those to the forefront. Make sense?
Yeah.
Excellent. Develop full stack application using PowerShell scripting to deallocate SAP resources offshore. Okay, so this is the thing. You optimize cloud infrastructure cost by 80%, increase the time efficiency by 99.6. I'm not sure. I don't understand what that means. I understand that how to optimize cloud infrastructure by 80%, but what does that mean? What does time efficiency mean? And can you give us like a quick explanation of what that means?
Yeah. So time efficiency here means that typically they would have to log on, raise a ticket. The end users of the Azure portal, they'd have to raise a ticket, get the VM started or stopped. Especially when they're offshore, it takes about 2 weeks for this whole process. And now with this application, they can just do it at a tap. So that's what I meant by time efficiency.
Yes. So say that, right? I didn't understand that, but that seems extremely powerful. Something that used to take 2 weeks now takes a tap of a button. That feels like pre and post industrial revolution, right? That's big stuff. And even so, I think that's powerful to say, like whatever system you design, and that's very product management, because you're seeing a process. There's something happening as a result of it, and you're identifying the process, you're improving the process, and you're doing it beyond 10x, right? 1,000x, 10,000x. And so see if you can make that jump. I like that 99.68, but honestly, it looks a little more suspect. But if you say this took 2 weeks and now it takes 1 click, I think that's pretty awesome.
Okay.
All right, good. So see, we can find these nuggets here if we look. And again, that's a 2-line thing. I know you want to say that you did all the, like what you did to do it, and you want to tell all these details.
Yeah.
But just go 80-20. What's the big thing is 2 weeks, 1 click. Show me like what was the big thing that you did to do that, and then see if you can turn it into 1 line. And that goes for everybody watching and building their resumes. Just look at the thing that you're trying to say, and take the key element and cut out everything else.
So would you recommend that I kind of remove the technologies that I use, like PowerShell or Power App, or I do not. Yeah.
No, I think it's great, but what you're saying there is that very specific. So if I'm looking for a product manager specifically work on that or these technologies or anything you might be working on, then that'll be a good flag. But a lot of the times, if you think about the next 5-10 years, a lot of the problems, they're not going to be specific to certain technologies. They're going to be about how do we allocate capital? How do we allocate human resources? What do we build? Why do we build it? And so the product manager, that's the big responsibility. There's going to be a lot of that technical stuff, but I think it's going to be the minority in terms of the overall demand.
Okay.
So that's my stance on that.
All right.
Cloud sizing estimate. So is this the one? What happened there? Ensuring efficient cloud use. So this was anything that doesn't have numbers in it is basically non-specific. See if you can get numbers to it. Product managers speak in numbers because they're trying to measure everything and trying to make sure that when they work on stuff, it's impactful.
Okay.
Then there was one other one that I wanted to point out. There was something 80% somewhere that I didn't understand what it was. Maybe you can scroll down a little bit. Let me actually remove myself here. You guys can take a break. You see how clear just the resume. So, EOD activities. What are EOD activities? Just real quick.
End of day activities that every bank has to perform, like every day.
Yes. I had a feeling those are EOD stands for end of day. That's how I use the acronym, but I just didn't understand why I couldn't tie it together. I didn't understand the data migration, server configuration, and updated legacy financials ERP by doing something with this group of people. That's a lot of propositions there. And then all to do this thing, which I now don't know that means EOD, right? So you're trying to say that, again, is the 2 weeks to 1 click thing, right? It used people had to do some stuff at the end of each day. Now they don't. See if you can find a way that you can really say, like, what is the thing, or I mean, ideally one thing that you did that led to this impact.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna bring you back here for a moment right now. So I think we're gonna stop there because I think you get the idea, right? We could just go take each line and do this. I can't wait to see the next iteration of this. It's gonna be awesome. So by the way, if you're interested in that kind of program that we talked about, because I think I think you're definitely on your way to being a very qualified candidate. If you're interested, let's definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me know that we chatted. I can't wait to see your next resume.
Thank you. Thank you for your help, Alex.
All right, Radna, it's my pleasure. Take care.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that was great. That was a great example. Arnold, do you have headphones on? That is impressive. That looks great too. All right, let me try to bring Arnold on. He's been extremely patient, as have the rest of our folks. Meanwhile, as always, I see, all right, we got more likes now. This is good. So we got 31 people watching, 23 likes. We're getting closer, but we got to get to 100%, right? We got to get 31 likes to 31 watching. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. We talk about this kind of stuff, and I'll be doing these type of chats Saturday mornings. Again, thanks everyone for your patience, those folks that are waiting in the staging area. And keep in mind that a lot of stuff that we talk about with each candidate probably will apply to you as well. So just make sure to try to take away the nuggets from the stuff that we talk about. All right, Arnold, here we go. Third time. We're bringing you on. Here we go.
No echo, right?
No echo. No echo to speak of. So good to see you and hear you. I'm glad that you persevered. By the way, everybody that's watching here today, you are a group of folks that are hanging out to learn how to improve your resume on Saturday morning or afternoon. This is already a great, actually, signal of long-term success. So if you can hang out and take the time on the weekend instead of relaxing or maybe watching the latest whatever's happening on Netflix, hang out and work in your resume, that already shows that you're kind of destined for long-term success. It may not feel like that right now, but believe me, it's actually all about just putting in the work every day, and then you're sort of guaranteed long-term success. So Arnold, having said that, give us your introduction, a little bit of your background, and then what you're looking for, my friend.
Okay, great. So I'm not the typical software engineer or computer science
Totally
guy.
fine. Neither am I. Hit me.
My undergraduate is chemical engineering. I'm doing my master's right now in energy and earth resources. I've done an internship in Shell as a process engineer. I've done consulting at Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I've done strategy at Valero. And then right now I'm a research assistant at UT Austin. So it's pretty much a mix of engineering, consulting, and strategy. And, my master's gave me it's given me the opportunity to take courses in Python and statistical learning and analysis, decision and risk analysis. And, my work experience gave me the opportunity to know how to use softwares like Power BI.
Arnold, that sounds pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome background. What brings you to product management? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I mean, just based off of previous work experience, some of them I did just strategy, some of them I did strategy and execution.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized that I'm more passionate about being able to execute, what I planned out.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting educational background and something I am just interested in and I don't know a lot about. So it'd be awesome to maybe have you come on and just speak to us about the background, because I think it's just, I agree that it's not traditional, but also I just did a video recently that talks about, like, here are some top 10 college degrees, and computer science was only one of them. So that's sort of the expected, but nowadays, honestly, you really don't need it, because like you said, it's strategy, it's execution, and a lot of that it's not computer science. That's just not what it is. All right. So you're looking to apply, you're looking to improve your resume right now and get it ready to apply for product management in tech.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. You have the resume for us?
Yes, I do.
Sweet. All right. So if you can share your screen and let me, once it loads up, I'll bring it up. Oh, look at this, Sergey. Thank you very much. Baby steps, Alex. Baby steps. I'm assuming you're talking about the likes, but look at this. We've got 30 likes now. So thank you all very much for bringing that to parity. That's definitely what we want to see. Make sure you're also hitting the subscribe button so that we can all keep in touch.
Hey,
And Sergey,
see
it's
my
good to see you.
share screen now.
Yep, I see your screen. Let me go ahead and put it right there. All right. Okay. So can you zoom in a little bit? And let's start at the very top because the resolution here is not 1080 or anything like that. So maybe zoom in a little bit more. I see you're making a full screen. Zoom. There you go. Okay, that's perfect. All right. So let's start. Education. We've got, and then move it a little bit to the left of the screen so that I'm not blocking it when I'm with a picture of my face over there on the bottom right. All right. So we've got Energy and Earth, University of Texas. 3.92 GPA. Yeah, my thought on GPAs are show them when they're rock solid, and that's obviously rock solid. Focus track, I'm not sure. You're saying basically technology. You're trying to say that it is relevant to sort of the tech industry. Is that the point of listing the focus track there?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. And chemical engineering with honors. Awesome. And cumulative GPA also strong, 3.85. Good. And let's just check. Anytime I look at education and I see GPA, I want to make sure that that's recent, right? You don't want to list GPA if you've already graduated some years ago. That's really not, that's not an indication of recent impact. So that's great. That looks good. I maybe would cut it down. So for instance, the kinetics and product distribution of the pyrolysis of waste PET plastics. So Arnold, seriously, can we book some time with you? You could just talk to us about this stuff because it's just fascinating stuff that I just know nothing about.
That'll be good.
Okay, so we'll plan that for the future. All right, relevant coursework. Relevant coursework I usually recommend to put on the bottom. Again, unless you're trying to catch the reviewer with some strong keywords, but I would recommend either move it to the bottom or really just figure out, okay, what am I trying to say with this? Is it really all powerful? I see definitely the research, statistical learning analysis, decision risk analysis, business strategy operations, UX, UI. You got a lot of strong stuff over there. So actually, in terms of the content, I think it's strong. The question is going to be whether to put it on the bottom or on the top. Let's keep going. And skills, I would certainly put on the bottom because, well, everything in there is pretty much kind of, well, not everything, because you got Python in there, Power BI, obviously SQL, R. That's great. It's all good stuff, but I would keep it on the bottom. Let's get to the work experience. Prepare product design and map. So let me do my sweep. So first we're going to do sweep, and then we're going to look at some lines. That sound good?
Yes.
All right. So when I sweep this, I like the educational background. I do actually like those business strategy operations, all this stuff. I do like it. So that might be a good indicator that maybe it is good to keep it on the top. As I go down here, so graduate research assistant, product design and mapping. That unfortunately I can't do anything with that because I don't understand what it means. Okay, potential to reduce industrial emissions. That sounds pretty good. Okay, I like that. Identified storage size to reduce emissions from Valero's ethanol assets by 2.3. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's a lot or a little, but I like the general direction. 250 million right in the middle of the document. That really gets my attention. Let's see what's happening with boosted revenue by 250 million. Boosted revenue by 250 million. First I read boosted revenue by $250 million, and I go like this, maybe a couple eyebrows raised. And then I go a little bit to the left and I see, okay, it has the potential to boost revenue. Okay, so that makes it a little bit weaker because I don't know, did it boost it? Did it not? Well, how much did it boost? So that would be great to find out. But maybe that's something for me to find out and call you out and discuss. Design, developed an award system of 22 private health facilities, policy implementation, strengthening CDC-sponsored RIHAV project. Okay, that's strong. And let me remove my face from here. Resolved analytical problems, improved operations 40%. I like that. $15 million, realized an opportunity. Great. Improved previous tool accuracy 30%. And then let's just go to your awards. Let me just quickly scan that. Award. So what I get out of that is that you have a lot of awards, which is good. That's probably, generally I'm kind of bearish on awards, but sometimes it can be useful. So as long as I can't obviously look at those awards and I have a feeling that something there, just was tacked on. And I don't get that sense here for now. Because you get full fellowship, financial support, outstanding academic performance, and leadership. So that does look pretty strong. Professional organizations, activities, leadership, organization, communication. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Arnold, that's looking pretty good. Your resume is looking pretty good. Let me bring you back here. Actually, we'll scroll back up now. Let's go through line by line a little bit and see if we can get improvement. Before we do that, let me just let me give you kind of my thoughts. So overall, my impressions are strong academic, which is good indicators. You have kind of like consistent, strong academic performance, strong financial savings and opportunities. And I would at least want to bring you out to have a conversation. But that is if I'm going pure like generalist PM, because there's not a lot of things about driving consensus, doing research, user analysis. None of that stuff was in there. So I can only go in the hooks that I did see. Now we're going to go in and we're going to go a little bit line by line and see if we can identify some vectors for improvement. But overall, I got to say that looks pretty good already. So we'll give chat also a moment to comment as well if you have any thoughts. And meanwhile, we're gonna look at some of these lines. So, and you already probably noted some of the stuff that I said as I was going through it.
Yes.
I want to know what it means, because when we're talking about these big companies, I want to understand what it means that you were able to cut by a certain amount or added a certain amount, and the 250 million and the 15 million. I think on the bottom, there was a 15 million opportunity that was actually realized, but on the top, we have this 250 million that I don't know if it's realized or not. It has the potential to boost revenue.
So that's strategy. So it's yet to be executed.
That's fine, but like what we talked about earlier, right? The proxy stuff. Okay, so if it's yet to be executed, did we convince someone to do it? Did we even take some steps? I know these are huge companies and things don't move very fast, but I would see if you can identify some proxy metrics. Even like aligned on it or made the first move, or like first stage, whatever the milestones, just something that makes me think that we're moving towards realization of 250 million. Let me actually show you some comments here. Arnold, resume shows how ambitious you are. That's true. Yeah, I agree with that one as well. One small recommendation, I'd save some resume space and put the GPA on the same line as your major. Yeah, I think that's a good tip, actually. Just whatever you can kind of save space. I think that's a good tip. Thanks very much. Would you recommend a summary for Arnold's resume? So there's the question again. Teki Chica asks, would you recommend a summary for Arnold's resume? I would not, actually, because I basically almost never recommend a summary anymore these days, because summary is like, here's the things that I'm going to say, but I'm not reading your resume in the first place. I'm only scanning it. So either way, I'm going to do my own summary. Your job is to make sure you highlighted everything correctly and brought attention to the right places, like this 250 million that was, I wonder, Arnold, strategically or accidentally placed in the center of the page. But these type of things are the things that I'm going to see, and it sort of replaces the summary. So I think summary would be duplicative here, and honestly, almost anywhere. Adesh asks, are the bullets different sizes? Not sure if the quality of presentation. All the best, Arnold. Okay. Thank you very much, Adesh. All right, so now let's see if we can get a little bit more specific. Prepare product design and mapping of 13 fields for sequestration of 100 million metric tons of CO2. So again, maybe I think it would be beneficial to understand what the product design part looks like. In other words, is this the product plan? That seems pretty complicated, again, because I'm extremely ignorant of the space. therefore everything seems much more complicated than maybe even it is. But I think if you did parts of the work that were product management in nature, this would be a good way to identify it and bring it out here. Reduce industrial CO2 emissions 30%. That's good. Like, that's just good. I want to understand, again, this potential, right? Let's find some proxies. Let's find some milestones. Potential is not necessarily enough. One of the key tenets for product managers is this execution piece. There's the launch and there's the landing. So even if you've launched the best stuff, but it landed poorly, that doesn't mean that you did a bad job, but it means that certainly didn't have the impact that you wanted it to have. Sometimes it's out of your control, but these are the things. A product manager is responsible for end to end. For whatever reason it didn't go right, that's still the product manager's purview. Identify storage sites here. So maybe the process of identification of storage sites is kind of similar to basically understanding the user need. So if you can maybe see if you can tweak that to understand, like, what's the process via which you identified these storage sites? Presumably, if your point is to reduce CO2 emissions, and you're going to do it via identification of the storage site, maybe make that a little bit more apparent. And what's the analytical work or the quantitative analysis, or whatever it was, or qualitative analysis that actually resulted in your identification of these sites? Or if it was not the identification, then maybe see what was it actually that allows you to drop these emissions down by this many million metric tons per year. And also, to my earlier point, I don't know if that's a lot or a little, like percentages here would help. And almost everywhere, instead of absolutes, try to do rates and percentages, just in general for everybody watching, because that's just going to be more powerful than absolute numbers. They're going to bring things into perspective. Okay, next, design data visualizations map. So this is 250 million. We talked about that. Design developed an award system across 22 private health facilities. Let me turn my camera off. So again, that one, you basically have 3 lines for that first one. Identify what is it that you're trying to say about that? Like, what's the benefit? I still don't exactly know what was the result of those 3 lines. Like, I'm not sure. It looks like there's policy implementation and strengthening something, but I can't quite tell what that is. So just make sure that's in a state where you know exactly what you're trying to say, what's the message you're trying to convey, and then try to say it more succinctly.
Okay.
Resolved analytical problems, also unclear. I don't know what analytical problems are. Improved operation by 40%. Great. Recommended immunization operational improvements. So tracking analysis of testing field data, that makes sense. I'm wondering how you improved operations by 40%, and what are these analytical problems you resolved? That doesn't exactly make sense. So this is, I think, a good opportunity. This is a strategy product analyst. This is a great opportunity for you to actually showcase some of those product management skills, and let's figure out a way to do that. Like, see if you can identify what you did and the impact that it had. And it looks like you have the impact right there. Improved operations by 40%. I don't exactly know what that means. Is it like costs? Is it time, like we talked about it in previous resume? What was it? Maybe there's a better way to demonstrate that, because I unfortunately I can't put my hands on improving operations by 40%. I don't know exactly what that is. Gautam, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry we can get to you. We'll get to you next time. Thanks very much for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. All right, so I think that's really my commentary on this one, Arnold. I don't know that I can give you necessarily more points. I think you get the gist of what you need to do. I think it's already in good shape. You've got a lot of good stuff in there. And I think if you tighten up, again, the impact and specifically the product manager qualities that led to those, especially for those ambiguous ones, I think it could, it could go next level for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Appreciate the feedback.
For sure. Any other questions? I'm happy to obviously review it next iterations. If you join us, or just like I said, email me. Let me know how you're doing. Have you applied to jobs yet?
Yes, I have.
And are you tracking your response rates and all this stuff?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I just always kind of recommend to do that just to make sure you understand. Again, you're measuring your own uh, efforts on the resume even. So I think you should get strong response just from that as it is. If you update it, you should be even stronger. I would probably go for generalist PM for that, and it makes sense. And those are probably a large portion of the roles anyway right now. But yeah, you should do well. So keep me updated. Obviously, any questions, drop me a line. Always happy to see you. Thanks very much for stopping by.
Thanks for taking me up on this.
My pleasure. Take care. All right, folks. Prachi, I'm going to try to bring you in again. I know we lost you there. I apologize. Let me just see. Hopefully the screen's going to load this time, and I'm going to take a look at what's going on in the chat. Thank you very much for hanging out with us and sharing your resumes and dropping your comments. If you have any questions, please repost them in chat, and I'll take a look at them again, because unfortunately I don't have the capacity to multitask and do things simultaneously. Nikita, here's a question. Hey, Alex, another question. I have heard often big company names in your resume helps getting attention. However, my experience is in a startup. What should my strategy be? Yeah, so actually, thanks for Nikita. Thanks for bringing that up. So anytime I say anything is going to bring attention and is going to do well for your resume, that I do not mean to discourage anybody that does not have any of those things. And I also don't mean to say that you will not be successful if you don't have that. You don't need educational background, but it helps. You don't need fancy names, but it helps. You don't need a lot of impact, but it helps. And so all of these things, they're going to add up, but by no means should you think that, okay, no, I'm not going to try because everything is, it doesn't look like my resume measures up or whatever it is. Because I'll tell you that really just tenacity here is the thing that you're looking for. And product management is this thing where you're always going to have to prioritize. You're always going to have to push things. Everything's going to be confusing and complicated. And so in reality, this part where you're optimizing your resume and you're working with the best version of yourself that you have and the resources that you have, that's kind of part of the process. So if you're going to do well in that, you're going to do well on the job. And simultaneously, I would, if you're very frustrated by this experience, I would tell you that kind of product management is basically all the time like that. It's just nonstop building your resume, improving it, and trying to get it to launch. And so don't be frustrated by that. That's just kind of the philosophical aspect of it, Nikita, just to go the long way around it. But practically, again, there's two aspects. Number one is identify the things that you know product managers do and should do, and try to identify which areas that you've already done. But then the stuff that you have not done and you have no way of demonstrating that because you don't have experience with it, try to add that to your resume. So as you're working on your resume, also start a side project or join with other groups of people or practice certain aspects or try to do those things. So there's nothing better than actually building stuff to give you the confidence that you know how to handle basically modern day business, is eventually operate a business and solve someone's problems. So don't focus on the stuff that you don't have. Focus on things that you do have and that you can actually impact, and you're going to be fine. It's kind of a long answer and a philosophical one at that, but I think that's really the way to do it. There's no shortcuts to that. Did we lose you again? I think, Prachi, did we? I'm trying to see if we can bring you back. Meanwhile, let me see if there's any other questions. So Sergey also mentioned about Arnold, about the resume, maybe move awards to the LinkedIn profile to save space. Maybe, but actually, usually like I said, I'm very kind of trend negative on awards, but I actually like that one because I think it identified these key characteristics of a product manager, and it said like leadership, communication, and excellence. So I actually like that in that case. But that's I'm gonna have to take a look, review future resumes, and then take a closer look at these awards. I just really like how Arnold did that. So that we'll take a look at future ones and we'll see how that measures up. Prachi, what's happening meanwhile? Let me bring you to the stream. So maybe you can walk us through your resume.
Can you see my
We can
Can you-
see you. So you're the unfortunately the shared screen just doesn't load. So if you want, you could just like walk us through the resume, or you can actually just send it to me.
Okay, I just shared it. It says that I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, it is, but it's blank. Like it's not showing anything. Here's what it looks like. It's unfortunately empty. But if you could just maybe send me a link to a Google Drive of it or a PDF of it in LinkedIn, and I'll just open it up right now, so you don't have to wait anymore.
Okay, I will send it to you on LinkedIn.
Great. All right. Meanwhile, there's a question here. Chiranjani asks, Alex, I worked at a startup as a software developer, but also did some PM work, feature ownership requirements, market analysis, talking to clients. How to effectively integrate this? That's great. You just did. Feature ownership, like let's figure out what that is. Like what was the feature you owned and what does it mean that you owned it end to end, like design, development, launch. And for requirements gathering, who did you talk to? Did you talk to multiple stakeholders? And for market analysis, again, how did you go about this? Did you collaborate with like, research, UXR, or like how did you do it? And finally, talking to clients, I think that's great. That's user analysis. And so you actually just say it. You've kind of already summarized it. And by the way, at startups, that happens a lot. Like there's a lot of cross-functional work. People wear multiple hats. So for sure, list that on your resume, just like that. Here's the feature that I owned. Here's the result of the work that I did. And that should work. Okay. So Prachi, I see it. Let me open it up. And let me see if I can share it. I've never really shared as well. Let's try it. Okay, here we go. Chrome tab. Just a moment. Yeah, I think this is it. Yep. Let me put it like that. Okay, so I think we can see that. All right, so finally, Prachi, here we go. Let's take a look at your resume. So again, I'm gonna do just a quick view through.
Yeah.
And then we'll go a little bit more in depth. So summary, usually again, I don't really like summaries. And so here I am, I'm reading the resume. It's in my email. I open it up. I'm going through it. Okay. I do notice that you've got Android developer, data analyst. Great. Mentoring students. That's pretty cool. You did kind of pull me into the summary. I read half of it, which is already pretty impressive. Education, Master of Science. Great. Grace Hopper Conference. Yep, familiar with that. Focus course project. Okay. Risk management, strategic. Software engineering, database design. Great. Bachelor's. Excellent. Syracuse University. Class for 50 students. Okay. Troubleshooting real-time operational issues by 100% for seamless online engagement. Don't know what that means. Partner with students, 101. Track delivers. Okay. Coach 8 groups. Improving online learning experience by 90%. Okay, but I don't know what that means. Again, I'm not sure. It's a little ambiguous about what that means. Revamped UX. Analytical dashboards, 92 million records for 400 users. Okay, so you built dashboards, 400 users. Operational cost been 91%. How did you do that? You developed automated data pipeline architecture. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe it's not enough detail about like how exactly that automated data pipeline actually led to 91% cutting of costs. Reduced time to market of competitor analysis by 2 weeks, transition agile. Okay, it's again not quite specific. So the theme here is, okay, so we got a lot of numbers here. Let me just go through those. Ideas to optimize static images. Okay. So as a developer, you optimize the static images to increase the loading time. Hopefully you meant decrease the loading time by 40%.
No. Okay.
You want it to load faster, right? Rather than slower. Okay, and then decrease customer ownership by 60%, cross-collaborate, prioritize UX. Customer mobile space, you saved some space by unifying the single product. Okay. Trove design, thank you for 12 new hires to brainstorm increasing user adoption by 70%, reducing customer churn by 30%. How did you do it? By initiating a plan to add personalized feature for customers, and you set up weekly team meetings. Okay, so I'm going to have a lot of comments about this. So in general, I think you have a lot of things here, but if there's one word that I would use to describe it, it's specificity. Like, we need specificity. It's clear you've got a lot of things that you did, but I think we need a lot more specificity here. What am I talking about? Of course, what you actually did, why you did it, and how you did it. Those are like ideals. If we can show as many of those elements as we can, that would be best. Statistical models with 95% confidence. Good. So there's a lot to go through here. Let's take a few examples together, and then I want you to take this and improve it like we did with those examples, and come back, and then we'll look at a refreshed version of it. Because as it is, I see that you've done things that on the surface product managers do, but I don't see the specificity. I don't see prioritization, and I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at this point, right? So I think you have so much stuff. I think there's a lot of potential in here, but as it is right now, probably it would not be good enough to get a callback. And I don't know if you've already tried this out in the wild and sort of applied with it, and I'm wondering if you have already, what's the response rate?
I mean, I haven't heard from anybody till now.
Oh, okay, so you haven't yet. Okay, so let's do it. So I think that's actually, I wanted to validate, because again, this is just my opinion based on a ton of resume reviews. And again, we're not going for getting the job. We're just going for getting the attention to just get the recruiter callback. We'll have separate discussions about how do we actually maximize those recruiter callbacks, and then the hiring manager screens or whatever it is later. But for now, we're talking about getting the resume. So Teki Chica, thank you so much for your involvement in the session. Definitely very useful commentary. Will this live video be available later in the channel? Yes, it will be available later in the channel. We definitely want to see you stick with us, but we understand if you have to drop off, and appreciate your involvement thus far. And we'll see you also next time. Hopefully next Saturday, we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to go through, and hopefully we're going to start seeing folks making changes, and we'll track how those changes go. And then we could actually try this program that I kind of initiated in my forum, where I said that we want to take a few folks and build a group of candidates that eventually we take all the way to finding awesome employment. So that's just something that we're kind of forming, this initial group. But there's going to be obviously a lot of effort by all the candidates. We're going to work on resume. We're going to work on interview skills. We're going to work in groups. It's going to be fun and interesting. I'm just developing it right now, and definitely stick with us. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already, as I said for the 17th time today. So Prachi, let's now talk more specifically about some of these lines. So first of all, summary, I don't think we need it, because what happened here is your summary is Android developer, data analyst, and mentoring students. That is great, but I would rather you get rid of that and focus on showing me in the actual bullets, why are you a good developer? Why are you a good analyst? And how are you going to leverage both of those things to be an excellent product manager? So forget the summary, just show me that in the bullets. Now let's look at these lines. Well, let's just start from the top here. Syracuse University, lead weekly class for 50 students. So real-time operational, like right off the bat, I don't know what real-time operational issues by 100% actually means. Like, did you look at all issues?
No. It's like basically the classes go on in hybrid mode. So, if there are any troubleshooting issues, I fix them.
Sorry, you're saying that basically it's sort of like 100% uptime for students, something like that?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's better than like Amazon.com, I think. Even Amazon is not up 100% of the time, but it's great. Get that. Let that be a little bit more clearly, and you're leading with that, right? Like, I know that's the most recent thing, but you're leading with that, so you should tell me powerful things about it. And certainly leading a class of 50 students. And just so I understand here, you're troubleshooting real-time operational issues, meaning that as you're doing this class with 50 students, you are simultaneously working through the issues that they have, or what does that mean?
So basically, I am a teaching assistant. So that's how I work. Like the professor is teaching, and there are some students in the class, some students online. So I bridge the gap between them. If there is any technical issues for the online students, I fix those. And if there are any issues with the offline students to talk with the online people, then I again fix the issues.
Okay. So I don't know how strong that is. I mean, it's certainly something you do, and I'm sure it's challenging. But again, if we're trying to demonstrate product management stuff here, 100% seamless, that's pretty interesting. But I would think about whether that is the because that you're opening with that, right? So you want it to be something strong. So for instance, even the coaching groups to prepare a case study presentation, that's already getting much closer to product management type of stuff. But there you have improved online learning experience by 90%. Is that like their satisfaction? I don't know exactly what that metric is evaluating. So let's get more specific. What exactly are you improving by 90%? I like that you're coaching groups on case studies and on presentations, because that does overlap with product management stuff, but it's not extremely impactful. And I think that's just okay, because again, sometimes your work, because this position is a graduate teaching assistant, so it's hard to find things in there that are product management related. But nonetheless, working with people, collaborating and communicating is a part of it. And so you may want to leave just a couple of bullets that identify that and clearly explain what metrics you impacted if you can. Because it appears that you're trying to demonstrate it, but it's not coming through as clearly. I don't know what that means, online learning experience by 90%. You're a data analyst, intern, JavaScript void?
Oh, I think that is an error.
Yeah,
It's just
that's pretty funny. I do like that, though. That's a nice little Easter egg in there.
Mm-hmm.
So revamped UX, but how did you revamp it? For efficient retrieval of analytical dashboards from 92 million records accessed by 400. So whose user experience did you revamp, and how did it improve? See, I don't exactly know what's happening there. You got to get clearer. So there seems to be 92 million records and 400 users. So maybe you revamped the UX for 400 users, and then as a result, what happened with their experience? Just get clear, get rid of the stuff that doesn't drive the message home. Lowered operational costs by 91%. That's good. It gets me very interested. But how did you do it? Well, automated data pipeline does work, but I'm wondering, like, what is this data and what is this operational cost? Like, what is this project? I don't know how relevant is it for this project to have the cost drop by 91%. I think that's pretty strong on its face, but it doesn't. The context is a little murky.
Okay. So you mean like I should give some description about the kind of work that I've been doing? So basically, this was more like a patent-based research, which I mean I have tried to provide it for the researchers so that they can fine-tune their efforts in researching.
Okay, so I mean that makes sense. I think we have to find a way to have that be a little clearer. It's like they have efforts, and I'm trying to save their costs or improve their time efficiency or whatever it is to actually help these efforts be better in some way. So see if you can try to demonstrate that. So you're a data analyst. You're working with data to try to get these insights that you can then leverage to have impact, to have effect on something. And you have a lot of stuff here about efficiency and costs. It's just clear what that is and what you actually did. So, like, for instance, that looks to me like jargon. It probably is not, because you're basically saying directing cross functionality to harmonize. Like, you're just saying a lot of stuff, but what did you actually do here? I need to be able to understand it. Because I like the beginning, right? I like that you are working on improving efficiency, but I don't understand how you do it, and I don't understand why you do it. see if you can show me one or both in a way that I can understand, again, in a short phrase.
Okay, so basically, what I'm trying to do with this is, so the database has multiple companies, and all the companies have a parent company. So I am harmonizing it throughout the database so that when we provide the researchers with the amount of competitiveness that is there in the market, it is derived that it will be insightful for them to see exactly, how it is revolving throughout the company, like in the entirety of the hierarchy, from the child to the parent company.
Okay, I understand that a little bit better now. Still not fully. So you've
Okay.
just got to go through some iterations and make sure that it's basically fully understandable. Because if you can, and by the way, so I understand some stuff is complicated, but this is what we're talking about, those proxy metrics. And like, in order to explain how this was useful, you kind of have to explain that central thing. What is it that's happening? So, and feel free to test it on, your maybe coworkers is not a good idea because they're familiar with it, but maybe test it on some friends. Like, hey, does this make sense? Do you understand what I'm doing here? I think that could be a good test. I recommend it.
Okay.
All right, let's go through a few more. I think you get the idea here.
Yeah, I do.
By the way, the Android developer stuff, it's really great. Decreasing, just make sure you actually do decrease it by 40%. But here, try to get rid of anytime you see phrase like proposing ideas to optimize something, just say optimizing, right? You don't need the proposing ideas.
Okay.
Just anytime, and again, there's other situations where I saw that where you're basically like, look at this, like you directing cross-functionally, unless the point here is to demonstrate your cross-functional collaboration, which I don't think it is. I mean, it's a minor point, but focus on the big thing. The big thing is that you did something and the efficiency went up by 85%, or you cut 85% of costs, whatever it is.
Okay.
This type of stuff, when you're talking about brainstorming future development ideas and prototype possible solutions, it's very generic. Like basically all work in product management effectively has a brainstorming part and a prototyping part. But then why did you do this and what happened?
Okay.
Because there's just a lot of non-specific things here. I like the 12 new hires. You supporting these hires, that sounds pretty great. But let's get specific about how you supported them and how they were able to deliver final or intermittent results that were better in some way because of your involvement, right?
Yeah.
Try to get to that center. Initiated plan. So this is another thing. Like you initiated a plan to add a personalized feature. You could just say added a personalized feature.
Okay.
Set up weekly team meetings. In general, when you're going for product management, you want to avoid stuff like talking about and demonstrating things that are not really, well, they're fairly straightforward. Although it can be powerful to actually organize a process change for a group and extremely difficult, when you say it like that, it makes it feel like neither, right? Because you just set up, anyone can set up weekly team meetings, but to actually get people to collaborate on a new sprint system or like a new agile methodology where they deliver new builds every 2 weeks and you help them understand all that's impactful. But just setting up weekly team meetings, it doesn't get that across. And especially doesn't line up. I like these metrics, great. Right? User adoption, 70%, reducing churn by 35%. Get ready to talk about how you did this during interviews, but it doesn't matter because the important thing is that's a strong signal in a resume. As long as I can believe that the thing that you did or a group of things that you did could actually lead to such big jumps in adoption and churn. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. And also, since I've been extremely negative, and I hope you know that it's just so we can get you to get a better resume. Techie Chica says, this resume has so many solid technical strengths. Yes, a definite +1 there. Definite +1 there. But when we are going for product management, we want to make sure that we try to focus. Again, if we're going for generalists, there's a lot of stuff that we want to try to showcase. And I think this is absolutely right. You can definitely leverage your technical strengths, but see if you can round it out with other things as well. This is great. Okay. Sohab asks, can we see your resume? Yeah, I'm sure we could do it at some point. I wonder how good my resume is now compared to the stuff that I talk about. So we definitely got to do that. Maybe I'll show you the version before and then the version after. We'll see. It's a good question. Thanks, Sohab. Okay. So Prachi, so I think that's where we can kind of stop. I think you've got plenty of work that you can do. Let me bring you on here.
Yes.
You've got a ton of things to work with. So I think, a lot of times people think like, oh, what do I put in here? What do I put in here? I think you got a lot of stuff. For you, it's about figuring out the message that you want to say, making sure the things that you put in the resume actually tell that story.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? I know you've put up with a lot of technical difficulties and all this, so I want to make sure we get to any of your questions.
No, at least I got a direction, like, how I should be proceeding from here. So yeah.
Yeah. Great. Okay, Prachi, sounds good. Keep me updated for sure. Let me know how you're doing.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care. Okay, Tanya, let me try to bring you on here. Let me see if we'll get lucky from the first try. Whoops.
Hi.
Sorry. Hi. It sounds like you can hear me. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the show, and thank you for your patience. So please tell us a few words about your background and what you're looking for.
So my name is Tanya Gupta. I'm a graduate student at the Kelly School of Business, which is a part of Indiana University, Bloomington. Currently, I'm interning at Anthem. I'm doing a risk controls and assurance internship. And it's an 8-month-long internship, so I'll be done in December, and I'm graduating next May. Before coming to the US, I also completed my undergrad in computer engineering, and I've always been interested in product management. That's one of the reasons why I switched from a more technical course to something like information systems, which is kind of a blend between business and technology. And yeah, I'm really interested in hearing your feedback on my resume.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That sounds great. Why don't we, if you can share your resume with us, if you can share your screen, let's see if that works. We'll go through it. And are you applying already for positions?
I will be starting this week. Can you see my screen?
Hang on. Yep, it looks like it loaded. Let me try to put it back on like this and like that. Yep, we can see it. Maybe you can bring it a little bit higher. No, I think I can see it actually. That's perfect. Let me turn my.
So can you like control my screen, or will I have to scroll?
I cannot. Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll through it. So let's do the thing first where I actually just like look through it briefly just to get my thoughts. Okay, so first way of education is a lot of stuff. So when I see in general dense words, I tend not to read them when I do the initial scan, right? And you wouldn't either if you were going through hundreds of resumes. That's just the reality. Like we can't not do it. So people sometimes they have these two beliefs simultaneously held, that like I need to make my resume with as much detail as I can, but then when I read other people's resumes, I skip through all the stuff. So it's like this, it's just these two conflicting beliefs, and I definitely go with the point of view of the reviewer of the resume.
Right.
So if you do that, then I would say now let's zoom in a little bit. I think we just like went through this with Arnold, I think, and I looked and I actually liked some of those relevant coursework. So here we've got strategy, case analysis, predictive analysis. There are things here that I like, but there are also things here that I find maybe not necessarily super relevant to product management, only in certain situations. So I do like strategy. I do like case analysis. I do like data mining, project management, but like the rest of the stuff, even project management is like, I don't think it's enough to lead with, because you're wasting my attention time with your less than most powerful elements. Let's keep going. Scroll a little bit down so I can see what's happening in the Bachelor of Engineering. Second place, Technical Innovation Fair. Led a team of 10, so that actually is strong. To conduct community, but I couldn't actually see it because of the bulk of text. So for instance, relevant coursework, you might want to move to the bottom, but like led a team of 10 in President of Women Technology Club, that sounds pretty good. I certainly leading teams is a big part of a product manager's work. Let's scroll down a little bit more. And GPA, I see 4.0, 3.78. You folks with your high GPAs, it's very difficult. I did not have high GPA numbers, and so I want to say it's awesome that you can do that. I think it definitely does capture attention, but I would also encourage those folks that don't have high GPAs to showcase, not to be discouraged, because I think again it's one of those things that you work with the assets that you have. Second place in Innovation Fair for Engineering Helping Hand, a sign language, text, and speech. That's pretty cool. So again, you're showcasing that at the top. So that is what I'm going to probably pay attention to. And you're bolding the president of the Rotaract Club. So I'm going to read that. Like I can't not read that. It's at the top and it's bolded. So, okay. So I get the leadership award. Okay. Now let's go to experience. Let's just bring that to the top. Perfect. Anthem. So I know Anthem. That's good. Analyze 500 data samples, 75 controls, identify deviations. It's bulky. There's a lot of text in there. And I'm not sure what happened as a result. This is going to be very similar to like what we just talked about, which is where it feels very important, but I don't exactly understand what's happening. And as a result, because I only have 8 to 10 seconds, I might miss something that I maybe should have noticed.
Right. So from this sentence, what would you recommend I take out? Like what, in your opinion, is not important? Yeah,
it's a good question. Like, let's think about it. What are you trying to demonstrate there? It's always like, what story are you trying to tell? It's the first bullet of your, bullets should be prioritized. The biggest ones at the top, meaning the most important ones at the top, so that you have the biggest chance of having someone actually read it. So like, what's the story that you're trying to tell there?
Okay. So for me, basically the story that I'm trying to tell is I want to highlight my skills to perform analysis on these data samples, along with a more like detail-oriented approach, because we need to find these potential deviations from standardized business processes, and also being able to complete that on time for the SOX and SOC 1 testing standards.
Does everybody know about what SOX and SOC testing standards are? Like, I don't know what that is.
Think they know. I don't think everyone knows the standards specifically, but I think everyone recognizes like SOX and SOC 1.
Sure. Okay, so you say that, look, I can work with these vast data samples that are spread out, and I can perform this data analysis. I think it might be over-indexing on the data analysis part of it. And if, like, let's see what the rest of the resume is. If in fact you're going, look, my strengths are indeed data analysis, and so that's where I want to be. That's what I want to highlight, and that's the type of positions that I want to get. Then maybe that does make sense. So let's keep going. Coordinated with cross-functional teams, gather missing data, verify error remediation methods, assess validity. So there's too much stuff. There's just too much stuff. If maybe for the second look, and you've got a balance between getting the first look and the second look. The first look is to get the recruiter to actually call you back and have a discussion with you. The second look might be where the hiring manager looks at more detail in your actual resume. The majority of resume reviews are that first look. Sometimes that second look doesn't even happen. because the recruiter will just say after the conversation, yep, you've got the 3 things that I need for this position. And so you're moving on to the phone screen. And then during the phone screen, people might not even have time to look at your resume, or they'll look at it briefly. Again, that's just the realities of what happens. You'll probably get situations where people do look in depth, but that's going to be usually the exception, not the norm. So you've got a lot of double line, dense bullets. Let's try to break it up. If you're saying 4 things or 3 things in a bullet, try to say 1 thing.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what's the main thing I'm trying to say there, and just say that thing. Get rid of the other stuff.
Right.
Identify opportunities, improve completeness and accuracy of the evidence gathering process by gap analysis. So the thing that I saw here is gap analysis, okay, and presenting results and implementing a solution. That's great. So the powerful things are, from product management perspective here, is that you saw a problem, you created a solution, you got buy-in for the solution, you actually executed on the solution, and you ended up reducing turnaround time by 30%. That's strong. Maybe that's even a couple of bullets. Maybe you can make it into 1, but that's what I want to take away from it. That this is the thing they did. As it is right now, you see, your impact is at the very end of the second line. I just might not get to it.
Okay.
See if you can turn that 2 line into a 1 line, because I like that. This is the evidence gathering process. So I think I understand what is happening. I don't exactly know what is the solution, right? You just implement a solution. I don't know. So I understand the evidence gathering process. I understand that there could be problems along the way for multiple users that are interacting with it. I understand you could probably improve it. I don't exactly understand what your solution is. If you can help me understand that, I think that would be strong as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So generally, like, we've been told to use star format or car format in the resume, right? So when you use that format, the result naturally comes at the end of the sentence. So do you recommend actually putting the result in the beginning and not using, or like making it results and then context and action?
No, I actually do like star, but as long as it's readable.
Right.
And by the way, sometimes what I tell people is that that's ideal if you can actually show everything. But sometimes you won't be able to, and so at least show the impact and show how you did it. Because there's all these components. There's like the impact at the end, how you did it, and why you did it. From product management perspective, that's kind of what I care about. Okay. And if however many of those components you can show me is best. I wouldn't necessarily. By the way, I also would not worry too much about whether to put the result in the beginning or the end. And I would worry more about the fact that that bullet is easily consumable, easily digestible and readable. Right. And that you're telling the story that you actually want to tell. Usually I like to lead with the power verbs, and it looks like you do have it in a lot of places. Some verbs are a little bit more kind of a little bit stronger and showcase different aspects of the product manager's performance. In fact, actually, since there was a question about my resume, one of the things that I did was I looked at the things that are important for product managers to display, the qualities, and I did a video on this. I did this for my resume years and years ago. The video I did only recently, but the point was I knew that there was these qualities of things that I wanted to demonstrate: execution, collaboration, buy-in, strategy, all this stuff. And then I actually made a list of verbs for every group. I probably have that spreadsheet somewhere. There's a list of action verbs, and I chose the strongest verbs from each group, so that I did not really have like relatively weak action verbs like helped. We talked about it recently about like, okay, helped. It could be a little ambiguous, but I had strong verbs that talked about, okay, this shows leadership. This shows communication, collaboration. This shows execution. This shows end-to-end ownership. And this is just for those that are still with us watching, and for the people that are watching this as a video later. That's kind of the dedication that it takes to just really fine tune every aspect of your resume.
Right.
That's what I did with my resume. And a lot of times, like a lot of my friends, and when they heard that that's how I approach resume making, they thought that I was kind of a little bit nuts, like just too much. But at the end of the day, that's how you drive results. Like all of these things do matter, as you basically introduce it to large numbers, a lot of applications, a lot of customized work, and it brings effects. I went off on a tangent because I just looked at those verbs and I realized that some of them, for instance, like analyze is strong because you're showing obviously the data analysis piece, but you're leading with that. So just again, make sure that that's the story you want to tell. Maybe it is. It sounds like maybe actually it is.
Right.
Let's keep going. Manage collaboration between external auditors. So let's, if you can scroll down a little bit. And Anthem leadership on 50 control walkthrough meetings. It's a lot of meetings. That could be bad, could be good, but I understand it's Anthem, so that makes sense. Provide clarity in business process, document their workflows. So that's good. What it's missing is the impact. So 50 meetings, what happened? Is this just it sounds like it's just an audit. It's just a thing that happens. And maybe a positive result is that nothing happens. But I'm a little bit unclear about what the impact of that is, because that sounds strong. It's a lot of meetings, a lot of process work. Get specific about what the result was here.
Sure.
Careful with the acronyms.
Oh yeah. So actually, what I did is I put RC up in the bracket here, but I don't know if.
Nicely done, but I missed it anyway. And maybe if I would have saw it on the screen, that would have come together. But that's prudent. I do that as well sometimes. When you simply must use acronyms, you try to put it on top in parentheses. I think that's a good move. Real quick here. Nikita says, thanks so much for all the pointers and tips. We appreciate doing this on a Saturday. Got to drop out. Have a great weekend. You have a great weekend as well. Thank you for joining us. Partner with a team of 6 to analyze existing systems and formulate the business process model and ERP software. Is resulting creation and execution of an implementation plan. Okay, that's scary to me because you partner with a team of 6, you analyze some stuff, but the result was an implementation plan. Does this implementation plan get approved, or what's the proxy metric? What I would want when you partner with a team to do something is for the thing to be done.
Okay, so the word execution doesn't. I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I was just saying that the implementation plan is the beginning, but are you trying to say that there was stakeholder buy-in, and so this is the proxy metric? Is that we have a plan and we're going to move forward?
Yeah, I mean they did execute it, which is why I said execution. But
execution of an implementation plan. Okay, got it. All right, maybe just get a little bit more clear, more clear here. Can you drop this down also a little more?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, perfect. Automated digital process with the help of key stakeholders tripled operational efficiency. That's great. By the way, also, if you want to bold stuff, I recommend bolding key aspects. If you bolded something at the top, you could bold some other things so that as I glance through, my eye kind of goes from bolded area to bolded area.
Right.
Redesigned the quotation process to an automated digital process with the help of key stakeholders. Tripled efficiency, established 2 standardized processes. It's not bad. I do like the triple operational efficiency. I don't know how you redesigned it. I guess you're saying that you automated it. It used to be manual, now it's digital.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I don't think you need, what are you trying to say there? Right? Are you trying to say that you can design a solution, or that you can work with a cross-functional team, or what are you saying with that bullet?
I think the major focus is designing a solution.
Good. So try to say one thing.
Okay.
I know we want to say more stuff. We collaborated, we did this, executed. Try to say one thing. Sometimes there's bullets which literally talk about end-to-end ownership. So that would be the one thing. There would be end-to-end ownership. But here would be here's the design, here's the analysis, separate bullets. Here's execution, here's leadership, here's communication, collaboration, all that stuff. So try to see if you can separate them into their own bullets. Anirud says, thanks for the opportunity. The feature on live session is great. We're working to improve the resume. All the great advice. Speak to you soon again. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for joining us. And yes, I will talk to you later. We'll take a look at your improvements next time. Okay, Tanya, if you could scroll down, let's take a look at a facilitated 4 Scrum sprint cycles. I see that as well. That's good. So there you're saying cross-functional, or you're trying to organize groups. So yeah, that's what you're saying. So go ahead and say it. I would say leverage Jira. Maybe that's even extra. Like you could just put in 4 Scrum sprint cycles, parentheses, with Jira or something like that.
Okay.
Just short. And shorter is always better.
Right.
And a little bit more, scroll down past academic, or just start from academic projects. End-to-end system in 3 weeks, team of 4. Okay. Planning, procurement. Why is all that stuff capitalized?
They're like modules within SAP. So
Gotcha. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. I don't know so much stuff, and I get so much smarter by listening to all of you folks teach me about this stuff. So that's good. Data analytics. Predict likely buyers. That's great. Random forest. Yep. Boost internal rate of return. Targeted market reserve by 26%. Yeah, that's great. That's strong. If you can, again, make it shorter and maybe even put it at the top, that's strong. Like you're using data to draw insights, to bring action, to have impact. That's strong anytime you can present that. Okay. Capstone, simplify the process to identify threat event frequencies for ServiceNow ticketing. A time spent also from 80 hours to 1 hour. Yeah, that's pretty great. Again, just get maybe faster to your point.
right.
Data management, programming languages, tools, certifications. Yeah, sounds good. So I think overall great. A lot of technical aspects to the resume. I think a lot of potential, and already in pretty good shape. So I would say focus a little bit more focus. Be clear with yourself about the things that you're trying to say in the resume. Sometimes we just say a bunch of stuff. We're like, yep, that's me. That's all the things that I do, but it doesn't tell a compelling story. The compelling story is, what am I trying to get across? What are the 3, 4, 5 things about me that make me an excellent product manager for this role or for any general role? And then make sure you're saying those things.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, Tanya, thank you very much for your patience. Thanks for being with us. Keep me updated. And
Yeah, I think I'll be here next Saturday too.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much. I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next time. Okay, thanks, Tanya. All right, folks. Any other questions from the audience? Because I'm getting a little bit tired as well. But thank you very much for sticking with us. I think we went through a lot of different things today, covered a lot of ground, some pretty great resumes, and we saw some, I think, cool ways to improve them. And I think next time we're going to see a lot of even better iterations. So I look forward to that. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and smash the like button. I know we got some likes today. This is very great. I really appreciate your action there. It helps out the channel, and it allows me to make more content like this and hang out with you folks. And I do hope to launch this new product where we take candidates and we walk them through, maybe bring in experts from different areas, and we get you all the way through job placement, because that does seem kind of cool, and it's something that I would have enjoyed early on in my career, and I think we have an opportunity to do that. So keep me updated. Like if you're interested in that, keep in touch for sure. Let me just take some of these questions here. Tanya, thank you for your time. Thank you very much. Glad you learned a lot, and yes, looking forward to speaking next time for sure. Oh, yes. Adorable Cheetah asks, can I send my resume over for next week? So absolutely. You see that LinkedIn post? Maybe I can just actually link it again, or maybe someone can link it. But basically, there's a LinkedIn post where I said, hey, comment here to get the link to chat with me on Saturdays. And so that link is still operational, still up and good to go. If you drop a comment there, and if I will see it, which I will review these during the week, then I'll invite you and you can come join me next week on Saturdays. We're going to do these on Saturdays, 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. And once you see that I dropped a like on your comment, that means I sent you an invite. So if you do not get it for some reason, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Now let's take some questions here. Neil asks, how to go from business development to product management? What similarities do you see in both job functions that I could capitalize on? Yeah, I think business development, well, primarily is communication. You do a lot of work, a lot of client-facing work with business development. You reach out to a lot of folks. There's a lot of user-facing work. You're trying to see how can we find overlaps, because with business development, you're trying to see, okay, what are the partnership opportunities here? How can we basically take A and B and make it greater than the sum of its parts? And I think a lot of that is applicable in product management when you're thinking about what to design, what problems to solve, what do the users really want. So I think there's a lot of empathy, a lot of user analysis that goes there. Also, a lot of leadership. You have to, as a business development a representative, you are trying to improve the business, increase certain metrics in the business, and you are doing it a lot of times single-handedly. You're trying to enact this either partnership or new opportunities or new business areas, whatever it is. My camera keeps shaking. Got to work on that for next time. And so I think I would start from that. User empathy and customer analysis and understanding what to build, and just business sense, business acumen, and I think leadership and execution. So that's what I start from, Neil. And if you want to bring your resume for next time, we can take a look and see what we can do. John asks, if you were the hiring manager and you were looking for 2 to 3 years of product management, would you be looking for years with a PM title or years of PM responsibilities? They're a hard and fast rule. That's a great question, John. Thanks for that question. So here's how I would do it. Generally, I don't look for years of experience, but I know there are, first of all, you see that on a lot of job postings, and a lot of times that's one of the things. Want 2 years, want 4 years, want 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. I tend to think of experience. There is certainly an aspect to sometimes putting in the time, but a lot of situations are about what kind of impact did you have and what kind of product management experience did you actually already have. So I will not usually, personally, will not look at the years itself. However, if I see someone that just graduated, for instance, and does not have a lot of on-the-job experience, then that just tells me what it is, that you don't have, basically, there's maybe not any overlap. But if you do have several years of experience, if you have some years of actual experience, then usually that's going to be already good enough for me. So I would say that always go for demonstrating impact and demonstrating your PM skills and qualities that are powerful. And then the years will come, unfortunately. They always do. And by the time, as you're looking and looking, they stack up. So I wouldn't worry about the years of product management experience too much, or really at all. By the way, I would ignore requirements. Whenever requirement says you need 5 years experience, you have 1 year experience, I would still apply to that. If you can explain, here is how I am a good product manager. Your chance of getting through are going to be lower, but they're not going to be zero. And I think a lot of people kind of tend to underestimate that. Bhavish says, thank you for your time. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure, Bhavish. Thanks for joining us. Let's see if there's any other questions. Great questions, folks. I probably missed a bunch of questions, but we can definitely catch them up next time. So again, I want to tell you that if you want to be present in the next sessions on next follow-up Saturdays, make sure to go to LinkedIn and drop me a comment over there. Let me actually link my LinkedIn. Here is my LinkedIn. Hopefully that appears on the channel. And then make sure to follow me there and check out the post and drop a comment there that you want to join. For future, we're going to be running this for some time. We've also got a lot of other fun stuff going on. Tim Salau and I are going to be launching a product accelerator in the future. Tim, John, Marty, and I will do a product management seminar in the future. And we're going to launch this. We're going to launch this new candidate process. So we're going to take some of the top candidates and walk them all the way through to the job hiring process. Very excited about that. John, thanks for the advice. Really appreciate it. Nugget. Awesome. Yeah, glad you found that helpful. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Here, let me give you an easy link. You can go ahead and just hit that link, and it'll automatically subscribe you to that, so you and I can keep in touch. Also, if you have not signed up to my newsletter, make sure you subscribe over at alexrychevsky.com. The reason is that I'll be able to get in touch whenever we have situations like this, whenever I'm trying new programs, and we could just chat about product management, business, finance, whatever it is. So having said that, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out some of the other videos on this channel. I'm going to drop links all over the place. And subscribe, hit the like button, and of course, tell your friends that are interested in business and product management. Thank you all very, very much, and we'll see you next time.